Sierra Maestra Mountains in the Oriente province of Cuba, 1956. Mission accomplished. Scrambling back, Castro's commandos find blessed cover in smoke and fog. They are phantoms now, lost in a world of eerie twilight, but they are safe, safe for the hike home. Though the government troops can defeat Castro's forces, they cannot wipe them out. The rebels escape to fight again another day. After the raids, there is time to celebrate, to dream of the day when Fidel Castro and his men will command all of Cuba. That day comes in January 1959. The rebel in the mountain leads his men out of their Shangri-La for the last time. Batista has fled. Fidel Castro is Cuba's conquering hero. Havana and her people go wild. They surround and engulf him, clutch at and claw him. Fidel, our liberator, they roar. Fidel, our savior. On this fateful day, Castro speaks of the purification of Cuba, of peace with liberty, peace with justice, peace with individual rights. But the crowds demand vengeance against the former followers of Batista. In public trials, rebels act as judges and jurors, calling even children to testify. Reporters compare the spectacle to the Colosseum in ancient Rome. A young boy murmurs, "That man took my father away," points toward a defendant, and justice is done. Hundreds are executed and thousands of so-called war criminals are swallowed up in Cuban prisons. But Fidel Castro can do no wrong. The bearded leader is cheered and acclaimed wherever he goes, whatever he does. And when Castro comes to the United States, his reception is as frantic and frenzied as his triumphant entry into Havana. The deeds and daring of the rebel in the mountains have made him an heroic figure. Fidel Castro, in turn, says, "I come to the United States as a friend. My country and yours are good neighbors." Visiting Washington, the Cuban leader makes a pilgrimage to Arlington National Cemetery to pay homage at the tomb of the unknowns. All free men, he says, are in America's debt. Within a year, Fidel Castro is in Moscow, wooing and winning the friendship and favors of Nikita Khrushchev. Fidel, 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 the people chant. Russia has found a new satellite in the Western Hemisphere, the first and only communist nation in the New World. Two men and their nations embrace. "I am a communist," declares Fidel Castro, "and I have been all my life." In private meetings, Khrushchev and Castro make fateful and far-reaching decisions. The Soviet Union agrees to buy 1 million tons of sugar a year from Cuba. In addition, the Russian leader promises to step up shipments of crude oil to the Caribbean island. American, British, and Dutch companies with wells and refineries in Cuba refuse to process the crude oil, denouncing what he calls the foreign plutocrats who would impede the liberation of colonized people. Castro seizes the oil companies. The United States, which has been importing 3 million tons of sugar a year, announces it will cut that amount by 700,000 tons. The Cuban leader reacts quickly, defiantly. He seizes the American-owned sugar plantations. And then, nationalizing utility companies, Fidel Castro completes his confiscation of an estimated $1 billion in United States-owned property. Surging through the streets of Havana, Cuban crowds chant slogans and carry banners denouncing America. Half a century of friendship and mutual respect is coming to an angry, bitter end. On January 3rd, 1961, the bond is broken, saying there is a limit to the patience of the United States. President Eisenhower severs diplomatic relations with the captive island. Two years and 2 days after Castro's seizure of power, it is exit America and enter Red China. The communist toehold in the Caribbean has become a firm foothold. The break with the free world is complete and final. Chinese and Russian technicians swarm into Cuba. Raul Castro, Fidel's younger brother, travels behind the bamboo curtain to be greeted and decorated by Chinese military officers in Beiping. We are not alone, boasts Raul Castro. We have powerful allies. In Moscow, Russia welcomes warmly Cuba's most dedicated communist, Ernesto Che Guevara. Proudly and openly, the young Marxist pledges his country's allegiance to the communist cause. In Havana, Fidel Castro echoes Guevara's words and promises. And though the crowds do not know it, he does something more. The Cuban leader and his Russian allies enter into a secret agreement that will bring the United States and the Soviet Union into a direct nuclear confrontation, face to face, eyeball to eyeball. America and the world are told of the grave threat to international peace on a Monday night in October 1962. President Kennedy speaks.
Good evening, my fellow citizens. This government, as promised, has maintained the closest surveillance of the Soviet military buildup on the island of Cuba. Within the past week, unmistakable evidence has established the fact that a series of offensive missile sites is now in preparation on that imprisoned island. The purpose of these bases can be none other than to provide a nuclear strike capability against the Western Hemisphere.
The United Nations Security Council meets promptly to discuss the Soviet missile buildup. Adlai Stevenson, speaking for the United States, and Valerian Zorin, representing Russia, have their own dramatic confrontation as the Cuban delegate listens.
All right, sir. Let me ask you one simple question. Do you, Ambassador Zorin, deny that the USSR has placed and is placing medium and intermediate range missiles and sites in Cuba? Yes or no? Don't wait for the translation, yes or no. I'm prepared to wait for my answer until hell freezes over, if that's your decision.
For 7 tense and troubled days, mankind stands on the brink of an all-out nuclear war. Finally, Nikita Khrushchev announces that he has ordered the dismantling of the missile sites. And soon the Soviet rockets are on their way home. American aircraft sweep over the Russian freighters, confirming the sinister cargo hidden beneath the canvas covers. The Cuban Missile Crisis is over. The Soviet Union has backed down. But the imprisoned island continues to live under the gun. Women must join and serve in Castro's militia. The regimented, disciplined life takes root early. Boys who are old enough to go to school are old enough to march and drill for Papa Fidel. The revolution that ousted Batista is the revolution betrayed. Cuba still waits for the free elections that Fidel Castro promised his people in 1959. The island's transformation into a Soviet satellite is complete. Russian-made movies are featured in the theaters of Havana. Magazines glorify Cuba's bearded dictator. And every night, on any street, there are stark reminders of a ransomed people and a captive country. The world is given dramatic evidence of the dissatisfaction with the communist regime when Fidel offers any who wish an opportunity to leave Cuba for the United States. Tens of thousands respond. The island is not for them the paradise that Castro promised. The refugees are so anxious to leave their homeland that many of them will not even wait for organized sea lifts and airlifts. They board whatever vessels they can find for the hazardous 90-mile crossing to the Florida coast. United States Coast Guard ships patrol the waters between Cuba and America, ready to come to the assistance of any refugee boat in distress. In the first frantic days, the beacon light of freedom beckons hundreds of Cubans to the United States, the promised land. They come with little but hope as their luggage. And yet the life they choose holds promise of a far better future than the life they left behind. A few tin cans of food, a doll, tell the story of their hurried, pathetic flight. The agony of exile, the anxiety of what waits ahead, is etched in every face and written on every heart. But the price of liberty is paid, and gladly, by the refugees. Leaving Cuba, says one, is like coming out of a dungeon into free air. The long night is ended. The new day has come.